Welcome to my class. Today's lecture is on enzymes. I already taught some previous topics about enzyme. So, what is the definition? Again, I'm describing the definition of enzyme. What is an enzyme? They are globular proteins which functions as biological catalysts, speeding up the reaction rate, that is increasing the velocity of the reaction. How? It is by lowering activation energy without being affected by the reaction it catalyzes. So these are very important points to be discussed when you are giving the definition of enzymes. First, describe about the nature. What is the nature? What type of protein? Is it totally protein, or it is composed of protein plus non-protein part? I have told you that in the previous occasion that most of the digestive enzymes, they are totally proteinaceous, only containing protein part. There is no non-protein part. While in case of that metabolic enzymes, they are composed of both protein and non-protein part. That is why they are known as hollow enzymes. So, is there any exception? The good question is coming out. Is there any exception? Is there any digestive enzyme which is also a hollow enzyme which needs the help of cofactor? You can search it down. And also vice versa. Is there any metabolic enzyme which doesn't take the help of any cofactor? It is only proteinaceous in nature. Is there any exception in both the cases? Whether it is for digestive enzymes or for metabolic enzymes. If digestive enzymes can be hollow enzyme also, and if metabolic enzymes can be only pure proteinaceous enzyme, you can search it down and come out with the result tomorrow. If there is any exception in both the case, or there is no exception, all the enzymes that are digestive enzymes, they are totally proteinaceous. That is globular protein, no non-protein part. And that metabolic enzyme, they are totally hollow enzymes. So to come down, is there any exception tomorrow? You can search it down and give a short write-up on a page. That is there any exception or no exception?
Sir, ribozyme.
Ribozyme has an exception. For what? It is a digestive enzyme, or it is a metabolic enzyme.
Metabolic enzyme.
It is a
सर हेलो सर दिशा को ऐड कर लीजिए.
okay. No one is there in waiting room. So RNA behaving as enzymes, they are known as ribozymes. So it is neither protein तो है नहीं, not proteinaceous, it is non-proteinaceous. Exception is coming in the case of those proteinaceous enzymes which are not protein. These are RNA molecule behaving as ribozymes. Okay, but I am asking about hollow enzyme and non-hollow enzyme. Is there any digestive enzyme which act as hollow enzyme, which takes the help of cofactor, or it is not? सारे के सारे डाइजेस्टिव एंजाइम्स प्रोटीनेशियस ही होते हैं, या कोई एक ऐसा एंजाइम है जो कि नॉन प्रोटीन पार्ट यानी कि कोफैक्टर की भी हेल्प लेता है? इसी तरह से इज देयर एनी मेटाबॉलिक एंजाइम which is not a hollow enzyme, means it is totally proteinaceous, it is not taking the help of any cofactor? तो दोनों में ही आप सर्च करेंगे कि ऐसा कोई एक्सेप्शन है डाइजेस्टिव एंजाइम से केस में। डाइजेस्टिव एंजाइम केस में कोई ऐसी एंजाइम है जो कि होलो एंजाइम यानी को फैक्टर का सपोर्ट ले रहा है। दूसरे केस में ऐसा कोई मेटाबॉलिक एंजाइम है जो कि को फैक्टर का सपोर्ट नहीं ले रहा है, इट इज टोटली प्रोटीनेशियस जस्ट लाइक मोस्ट ऑफ द डाइजेस्टिव एंजाइम्स। तो दोनों ही केस में आप सर्च करके कोई मिलता है तो मुझे बताइए। That is the part of the homework, one page write up. If you found out any enzyme, then you can write in a paper or you can message me. So these enzymes that are digestive enzymes, they are mainly proteinaceous in nature, except ribozymes, which are not proteinaceous in nature, not protein. It is non-protein part, that is RNA molecule. So each of these enzymes catalytic behavior, it depends upon the structure, whether it is the primary structure, secondary structure or tertiary structure. So mainly those enzymes which are a single polypeptide containing protein enzyme, they have to attain the tertiary structure, while those enzymes which are made up of more than one polypeptide chain, they have to attain the quaternary structure in order to become folded and active. Again, there is a good important point. These most of the digestive enzymes, they are found in inactive form, known as zymogens or proenzymes. Most of the digestive enzymes and most of the enzymes found in blood clotting enzymes, they are present in inactive form, not in active form. This is so because if these are always active, they can eat up the cells like from where they are produced. So when food comes through the mouth, then only then they can become active. They can perform the function of their digestion. For example, in case of zymogens, the best example is pepsinogen, trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, and proenzymes. Example is procarboxypeptidase, proaminopeptidase. They both are same, but sometimes the suffix is added to the inactive enzyme. Like in case of pepsin, it is pepsinogen, the inactive form, while in case of carboxypeptidase, the inactive form is known as procarboxypeptidase. So somewhat slightly there is a different in term, but both are inactive forms, whether it is the zymogens or the proenzymes. So apart from these enzymes which I have discussed, that they are digestive enzymes and they are metabolic enzymes mainly inside our body. Some other enzymes are also there. They are participating in very important processes like DNA replication and protein synthesis. The most important enzyme of DNA replication, it is the DNA polymerase. Again, DNA polymerase, these are totally proteinaceous in nature. There is no non-protein part. You have studied the nomenclature enzyme classification already in the most of the previous classes I have taken. There are two nomenclatures according to the organization IUPMB, International Union of Biology and International Union of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology. The trivial name and systemic name. I have already told you what is the difference between trivial name and systemic name. Anyone can tell? Most of the previous 2 to 3 classes are devoted. Yes. Is there any difference between these two? Why there is a
कुछ लोग मीटिंग में उन्हें ऐड कर लीजिए.
added. What is the difference between why there is a need for systemic, the new modern name for the enzymes? Why this trivial name is obsolete? What you can write in the difference? What is the difference between trivial name and systemic name? The old name is trivial name, okay? And most of the enzymes which come under this trivial name, when you can heard, you can't decide whether what is the source, what is the function, what is the type of reaction they are catalyzing. This is the demerit, this is the anomalies in the nomenclature of this first digit trivial name. So to overcome these anomalies, this demerit of trivial name, there is proposed of systemic name. By this systemic name, one can easily identify the source, the function, the type of the reaction the enzyme is catalyzing. So the same thing is mentioned here. The examples of enzyme which come under trivial name, the trypsin, thrombin, and pepsin. By this enzyme name, it is not easily to capitalize what is the source, what is the function, what is the reaction they are catalyzing, until and unless you have studied about it. And most of the time, since the proteins are ending in suffix in, so it seems that these are proteins, these are not enzymes. But they are enzymes, naturally these are enzymes. Digestive and that blood clotting enzyme, trypsin, pepsin, digestive and blood clotting enzyme from it. So that is the requirement of systemic name. By the systemic name, there is a formula which denotes the first digit, that is here denoted by M as the class, while N is the subclass and O is the subgroup, and the last but not the least, that is P. It denotes the serial number of the particular enzyme in the list. For example, EC 2.7.1.1, it means the enzyme is hexokinase, and the class is second class, means which type of enzyme is there? Transferases. Second class is restricted, it is specific for transferases. And the first enzyme which comes in this class of enzyme, it is hexokinase. So last digit, that is 1, it is for the first serial number of the enzyme, which is hexokinase. So the EC, what does EC mean? Enzyme code or enzyme number. Enzyme code number or enzyme number. It is the short form written as EC beside these 4 digits. And these digits are always in number. This is the same example given for the class, different types of class, subclass, and subgroup. If it is 1 after EC, then it denotes that it is the oxidoreductase class. Second is subclass, and it denotes that it acts on the aldehyde or oxo group of donors. While third digit, it denotes the subclass, also known as subgroup. Third digit stands for subclass or subgroup. So it means that oxygen is the acceptor, and the last is the, it denotes that the serial number of enzyme is 4 in this subclass, that is subgroup. Now this is the total classification done under systemic name for the enzymes. These are the 6 classes proposed by IUPMB, also known as IUP: oxidoreductases, transferases, hydrolases, lyases, isomerases, and ligases, starting from 1 to 6. In each, you have to mention what is the function and what are the examples. Already told, I am revising today. Oxidoreductases catalyzing oxidation reduction. From the name, it is clearly indicating that it is involving in oxidation reduction reactions. Transferases, they are involved in group transfer, like phosphate group transfer. Hydrolases, they are responsible for the breakdown with hydrolysis of compounds. Lyases, they don't involve hydrolysis, although they break down the compounds, leaving behind double bonds. Isomerases, they are catalyzing interconversion of isomers. दो आइसोमर के बीच चेंज जो होगा वो आइसोमरेजेस के जरिए से होगा. Ligases, the last, they are responsible for catalyzing formation of bonds and new compounds. What are the examples of oxidoreductases? These are oxidases, dehydrogenases, oxygenases, and hydroperoxidases. So most of the dehydrogenase which you came across in the previous semester paper involving in glycolysis and TCA cycle and most other pathways like HMP shunt, where there is a release of NADH or FADH, this dehydrogenase is involved. You can easily give example of these oxidoreductases as dehydrogenase, whether it is the glyceryl D3 phosphate dehydrogenase involved in glycolysis or the TCA cycle dehydrogenases or the HMP shunt dehydrogenases, glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenases, the first enzyme of HMP shunt. So these enzymes come under these oxidoreductases. They are very good examples. Other examples are alcohol dehydrogenase, responsible for the production of ethanol through fermentation. Acetyl coenzyme dehydrogenase, cytochrome oxidase, involved in electron transport chain, and catalase, it is an antioxidative enzyme responsible for degrading the free radical hydrogen peroxide, H2O2. It is through catalase. Now the second class of enzyme, that is transferases. They are responsible for transfer of different types of group. In first case, since the word is written transaminases, it means that it transfer amino group. So all the enzymes which come under transamination reaction, they are examples of transferases like ALT and AST. Another type of transferases, they involve in phosphate group transfer. Like in the first reaction of metabolism, glucose to glucose 6-phosphate by hexokinase. So these involve the enzyme hexokinase. The name is hexokinase and it is transferring the phosphate group. That is why it can also be known as phosphotransferases. The main aim of this class of enzyme is to transfer the group, whether it is the phosphate group or the amino group. Now the third class of enzyme, it is hydrolases. They are responsible for catalyzing hydrolytic breakdown of different bonds. And most of the digestive enzymes, they fall in this category, in this class of enzyme, that is hydrolase. Whether digestive enzyme is for carbohydrate, lipids or proteins, they are all come under this category, that is hydrolases. The name is sufficient to know that it involves hydrolysis. That is why its name is hydrolase. The breakdown occurs with the hydrolysis. So one type of example, enzymes which are hydrolyzing carbohydrate, means they are breaking the glycosidic bond through hydrolysis. It can be polysaccharidases, oligosaccharidases, or disaccharidases. All of them are breaking the glycosidic bond except monosaccharide. There is no glycosidic bond in monosaccharide. That is why there is no enzyme like monosaccharidases. Only those enzymes which are capable of hydrolysing these glycosidic bond, they are mentioned here. Specific example is amylase, dextrinase, and maltase, lactase, and sucrase. Enzyme hydrolyzing lipids. Best example is lipase, apart from cholesterol esterase. Another catalyzing phospholipid, they are known as phospholipase. And those enzymes which attack on protein, that is peptide bonds, you have learned here that is they are catalyzing glycosidic bond. In case of carbohydrate, and in case of lipid, they are breaking the ester bonds, because lipids are not polymers. They are composed of two components, fatty acids and alcohol, through ester bonds. Acid and alcohol combined, they form ester bond. So these enzymes break the ester bond. While in case of protein, they are formed by joining of amino acids through peptide bond. These enzymes, carboxypeptidase and aminopeptidase, they are responsible for breaking one type of peptide bonds that are found on the amino terminal and carboxyl terminal end of a peptide chain. Beside these two peptide bond breaking on the amino terminal and carboxyl terminal, there are other enzymes which are responsible for breaking the peptide bond. They are known as tripeptidase and dipeptidase. So they break the peptide bond for dipeptide and tripeptide, finally into amino acids. Another type of enzymes which falls in this category of hydrolysis, phosphatases. Now, this is a metabolic enzyme. Most of the digestion enzymes we have learned here, they are falling in hydrolysis, starting from carbohydrate to lipids to proteins. Now this phosphatase is a metabolic enzyme involved in synthesis of glucose. Glucose 6-phosphatase is responsible for conversion of glucose 6-phosphate into glucose. In the last reaction, bypass reaction of the gluconeogenesis. Again, there is one more enzyme which falls in this category, is known as phosphodiesterases. As the name is phosphodiesterases, it means that it is breaking the phosphodiester bond, and when it comes the phosphodiester bond, you can easily recollect that it is found in nucleic acid, that in the nucleotide. It is responsible for attachment of nucleotide, the monomer unit of nucleic acid, whether it is the DNA or the RNA, the monomer unit is nucleotide. It is joined by this phosphodiester bond, and it is broken by this enzyme known as phosphodiesterases, which comes under class of hydrolases, the third class. Now the fourth class of enzyme, it is lyase. It is also break down the compound without hydrolysis. The difference is that in case of hydrolase, it involves hydrolysis for breaking down the compound, whether it is the carbohydrate or any other biomolecule. Here, there is no hydrolysis. They are involved in reaction when groups are removed without hydrolysis, leaving a double bond, or they can also add groups to already existing double bond. And the example is pyruvate decarboxylase. You have to mainly mention the example, what is the name of the enzymes, and you can easily recollect what is the reaction they are catalyzing. They can easily mention the example. So pyruvate decarboxylate is the first step for the process of fermentation in yeast, that is alcohol production. So first acetaldehyde is produced, then alcohol is produced in the next step. So this comes under anaerobic glycolysis, totally anaerobic glycolysis, also known as ethanol fermentation process. So this pyruvate decarboxylase enzyme is involved in production of ethanol. Next enzyme is fumarase, that is a TCA cycle, converting fumaric acid into malic acid. The fifth one is isomerases. Very easy to remember. They are involved in interconversion of isomers. Just like in case of glycolysis, when glucose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 6-phosphate, the second example, it is through isomerases known as phosphohexoisomerase. Apart from this enzyme, there is another enzyme which is involved in glycolysis, whether it is the aerobic or the anaerobic. That is the mutase, converting 3-phosphoglycerate into 2-phosphoglycerate. The first one example is a phosphoglucomutase. It converts glucose 6-phosphate into glucose 1-phosphate. So what it does, it only transfer the phosphate group from one carbon to another carbon. Here in this case, glucose 6-phosphate, the phosphate means 6 carbon, it is transferred to first carbon. And here, in case of second example, glucose is converted into fructose. The carbon number is same for attaching of the phosphate. Now the last one is ligases. If you don't remember, don't recollect any enzyme, and then you can easily mention that DNA ligases. The best example, which falls under this category of class of ligases. So they catalyze reaction in which linking together of two molecules occur, coupled with the breakdown of a high energy phosphate bonds like ATP and GTP. So in most of the reaction here, it involves ATP, it involves energy, where ligases are involved. So most of the enzymes, they have a suffix synthetase. There are type of ligases enzyme. Whether they are involved in the last example, that is fatty acid activation into fatty acyl coenzyme. It is the activated fatty acid, the first step of beta oxidation in the presence of acyl CoA synthetase, also known as thiokinase. कोई भी enzyme लिख सकते हैं, thiokinase भी लिख सकते हैं, acyl coenzyme में synthetase भी लिख सकते हैं. इतना याद रहे कि हाँ ligases ही इन्वॉल्व है. सबसे पहला रिएक्शन बीटा ऑक्सीडेशन का, प्रॉपर बीटा ऑक्सीडेशन से पहले सबसे पहला रिएक्शन जो एक्टिवेशन के लिए होता है फैटी एसिड का, वो भी एक तरह का लाइगेजेस है. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस एग्जांपल, another example, in the first step of gluconeogenesis, that is pyruvate carboxylase enzyme, the first bypass reaction, it is also a type of ligase, converting pyruvate into oxaloacetate. So you can easily remember these two examples, the last two, and DNA ligase. So we have learned the classification of enzymes according to the UBMB nomenclature into 6 types of ligases. Another classification is on the basis of composition. If the enzyme that catalyzing a reaction